I was so happy to see, I think it was yesterday morning, on the front page of the Plain Dealer, to have the whole page and the upper part of it with Vice President Pence speaking from the podium at the Right to Life March in Washington that took place, I think, Thursday and Friday. And I watched it on television. I hope that you got the chance to, too, on EWTN. It was just so good. It's the first time in 44 years since the decision to legalize abortion in our country that a public official, especially the Vice President of the United States, stood there and joined the march and promoted the right to life. And he was there, as he said in his talk, and he gave a beautiful talk, that it was President Trump that asked him to come and be there. He too holds the same stance on life. And it was so wonderful to see the thousands of people. That's been happening for years, but the media would hide it in a little tiny article on the back page of the paper. And today, it was just so good to see that that's changed. And to see the number of young people that were there, all saying that we are the pro-life generation. We are the pro-life generation. And the week before, there was the March in Washington for women, and they quoted as saying that we, pro-life is pro-woman, and how true that is. The dignity and sanctity of human life is so precious in God's eyes, and we must continue to pray, and I think it's the fruit of our prayers and our efforts over the years that we're beginning to see a deeper respect for human life from the womb to the tomb. The Lord teaches today gives us the Beatitudes as a blueprint for our own Christian living. I like that somebody called them the beautiful attitudes, and I think that's so appropriate. If we incorporate these principles into our lives, what a difference it can make in everyone's life. Back in 1986, two men affectionately, warmly greeted each other in the international airport in Tokyo, Japan. One was an American whose name was Panich, and the other was a Japanese man whose name was Isubichi. The two of them had met 40 years prior to that in a cave in Okinawa. Panich was in the cave trying to help a 5-year-old boy, a Japanese boy, who had been shot through both legs with a bullet. And hiding in the back of that cave were two Japanese snipers. One of them was Isubichi. And suddenly they came forward, pointed their rifles at him, and prepared to shoot him. But suddenly they stopped. Panich didn't know what to do. So he laid the child on the ground, and he took his canteen and opened it up and poured the water on the boy's wounds to clean them and help him. The two snipers were so amazed that they put back their rifles. Panich picked up the boy, bowed to them in gratitude, and took the boy to a field hospital for treatment, an American field hospital. Isubishi never forgot that moment, and Panich never did either. And finally, in 1985, Panich wrote a letter to a newspaper in Tokyo, thanking the Japanese people for the two soldiers who spared his life that day. And he had such gratitude. Well, Isubishi saw the article. He contacted the editor of the paper, and the editor got the two men together. And that's why they were greeting each other in tears. They shared what had happened in their lives since that moment, and I imagine it was so very profound. The one thing Panich wanted to do was to find that boy. As far as I know, he's still in search of him. But it's a story of blessed are those who are merciful, they will be shown mercy. Blessed are those who are merciful. Panich was being merciful to the boy, little Japanese boy who was injured. And the two snipers got into the mind and the heart of Panich, and they showed him mercy. It's a beautiful example not all acts of mercy are as internationally known like that story, and it's a true story. But there's so many acts of mercy that the truth that when we show an act of mercy, the mercy will come back to us. The Beatitudes are strange teachings from Jesus to the world, but to us they are so important. To be clean of heart, it means to be one in mind and heart with Christ, to have the heart of Christ and the mind of Christ. And if we do that, then how it changes our attitudes and what we do and what we say. And if we strive to live these principles, to be blessed means to be with God. And if we're with God in our mind and our heart, and if we're trying to live as Jesus lived, and if we show mercy, here these men both were showing mercy to their enemy. They were enemies, but both were showing mercy to them, and the mercy came back to them all. To be clean of heart, what's in our heart? Is it Christ-like? Is it Christ-loving? Is it what Jesus would think? Is it what Jesus would do? And when we look into our heart and say, well, blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Those are tremendous promises from our Lord. So today we hear this wonderful gospel and these readings that remind us that Jesus needs our hands and our heart and our lives in order to make his presence visible in the world. It's said that if you want to really be compassionate towards someone, and being compassionate means to suffer with them, that we need to get into their skin. We need to get into their mind, into their heart, into what their feelings are. And if we place ourselves in the shoes of another, even of an enemy, what will we see? How different will we see things? And isn't that what Jesus did? Jesus got into our skin. He thought with a brain like ours. He loved with a heart like ours. He experienced emotions and passions like we do. He now knows what we experience because he got into us and experienced it himself. Jesus is the first example. From the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Can we say that to our enemies? To the woman caught in adultery, he just took her by the hand and says, just sin no more. So gentle and so kind. And so if we look at the example that Jesus sets for us, and these Beatitudes are the beautiful attitudes come to life in us. So it's a great teaching from the Lord today, and something for all of us to meditate upon, that are these principles of Jesus truly a part of our lives, so that his love can be shown to all those we encounter.